microphone of magnanimity from the heart of TOTO-TOWN, and I've come tonight to explain some breaking news that took a lot of you by surprise, and you're looking for answers. And so I'm here to remove the speculation and replace it with education. So thank you for joining me tonight, wherever you're watching from. We're going to get right into this class tonight. Going to wait a few seconds to let everybody join in, but we want to really educate you as to why James Comey and Big Tisha James will be facing justice. I'm going to explain what happened today, why it happened, and why you have nothing to worry about, because we win in the end. And truth may be a long time coming, but when it comes, it does not take long. So welcome in, everybody. Get ready tonight. Good evening. Good evening, Lizzie Starr from California. Fern, Deb Reef, good evening. Please, please, please share right now everywhere. There are so many patriots that need answers, and I have those answers. I'm going to show you how Pam Bondi may have pulled off something that's a lot smarter than we realized. All right? So here we go. Hello, Faith. Diana Hernandez. Good evening, Renee. Gamache. Good evening to all of you. On Rumble. Good evening, Rumble. Good to see you tonight. Welcome everybody into class. We're only going to be here for about 30 minutes. Just a quick education, just waiting on everybody to come in. The quicker you hit the share button, the quicker I'll quit killing time and start this great lesson. Hello, Ricky Duck. Good to see you, Milagro Holmes. Good evening. If you're watching on Facebook, I need a love button, a share button. If you're watching on Rumble, I need a repost. If you're watching on YouTube, I need shares so that we can get the truth out tonight to a lot of patriots that are very, very concerned. Hello, Clara Bunch from Trinity, Texas. All right. Class is in session. The education begins right now. November the 24th, we all woke up to some shocking news on our television screen. Both criminals, James Comey and Letitia James, their charges were completely dismissed. And of course, initially, it's the balloon, all the air comes out of it. We feel deflated, and we're like, oh my God, how could this happen? And that was until I heard two words. Then my hope all came back alive. And those two words is legalese, without prejudice. Anytime a criminal case is dismissed without prejudice, it basically means it's not over. It's a pause. It can always be brought back. If a case is dismissed with prejudice, you can never. It's done. Hasta la vista. Today, the judge ruled that Lindsay Halligan, the interim U.S. attorney, that's the key word, interim. That's the entire problem that we're having. Interim. She was the U.S. attorney that brought these charges against these two criminals. According to the judge's ruling today, she was appointed illegally. In other words, she did not meet the criteria to bring these charges. She was basically, according to the judge, illegitimate. Now, if that is true, then I have no problem with these charges being dropped. I'm all for it. Why? Because before I care about James Comey or Letitia James, I care about the Republic. The Republic is successful only with the rule of law and order. So if Miss Lindsay Halligan is illegitimately appointed, and that's why these charges are dismissed, then sign me up for being okay with it. But the question tonight is whether or not Lindsay Halligan truly was illegitimate. And we'll get there in just a moment. So because of that, this was dismissed. I'm going to read Judge Curry's order for you, just a line of it. Because Ms. Halligan had no lawful authority to present the indictment, I will grant Mr. Comey's motion to dismiss the indictment. All actions flowing from Ms. Halligan's defective appointment, including securing and signing the indictment, were unlawful exercises of executive power and hereby set aside. So this indictment is being set aside because of the last line, an unlawful exercise of executive power. That's real fancy words for the judicial branch correcting the executive branch, saying you took too much power here. So that is the basis for his ruling. But this judge is aware of something. Judge Curry is aware that there is some ambiguity in the statute that he is leaning on to prove unlawful exercise of executive authority. There's a law, we're fixing to discuss it, that he made his ruling on. But he knows that there is some ambiguity in that law. Therefore, he did this without prejudice. Meaning what? It's not over, okay? It is simply not over. It's just like if you were playing a Monopoly game and you went and bought a piece of Marvin Gardens, but you had passed go illegally. Well, we're not throwing you out of the game, but you're going to go back to go, and you're going to start again, and you can come back, but you got to do it legally. So that's basically all he said. Notice what the judge did not say. He did not say that Comey did not lie to Congress. He did not say that Letitia James did not commit bank fraud. The judge said the prosecutor that brought the charges was not legally authorized to bring them. If that is true, then every red-blooded American must be okay with dismissing these charges. Notice my caveat, if this is true. Because at the end of the day, we all want law and order. Let's do this. Let me help you refresh your memory. Let me show you the law that we are talking about tonight so that you can get it in your mind and you know exactly what we're discussing. Let's go look at this particular law. It's on your screen now. Please share this, folks. This is real education. This is get you past all the hyperbole, all of the speculation. You're going to get the truth right now. Nothing but the truth. And I'm going to show you why this is going to be overturned. Okay? All right. We want to pay great attention to U.S. Code 546A. The entire ruling today is hinged up on 546, which is the law for vacancies. Now, there's a constitutional law called the Appointments Clause. This is part of that power to appoint officers of the United States government. All power to appoint officers rests with the president. Okay? This particular subsection is what happens if there's a vacancy and the president has not been able to fill that vacancy. As we all know, to get a U.S. attorney, you must nominate one by the president. he must be confirmed by the Senate. If you don't have that, then how do you serve justice in that particular district? It's with this subsection right here. Let's read it together carefully. Let's see what the law actually says. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, in this case, may appoint a United States attorney for the district in which the office, sorry about that. The office of the United States attorney is vacant. So this entire law is about vacancies, okay? The Attorney General, if we cannot get one confirmed by the Senate, we can't hold up justice. So if we don't have one, we need to appoint one. That was Pam Bondi's job. The United States attorney, so appointed, may serve until the earlier of one of two things. So this temporary appointment will no longer be filled when one of two things happen. Number one, the qualifications of the U.S. attorney appointed by the president. In other words, if we get one confirmed by the Senate, the temporary one is obsolete. Let's go to the next one, number two. The expiration, and this is where the whole problem comes in. The expiration of 120 days after appointment by the Attorney General under this section. Okay, so if you are a temporary U.S. attorney, if someone gets confirmed in the Senate, you're gone. When 120 days expires, you're gone. Okay, very simple. But C is where it really gets interesting. If an appointment expires under subsection B, the district court, in this case, the judge that ruled today is the district court. The district court for such district may appoint a United States attorney to serve until the vacancy is filled. Now, this is very tedious here. Many times, it's not what the law says, but rather what the law doesn't say that brings in all the ambiguity. And such is the case, all right? The Attorney General may direct the United States attorney appointed under this section to perform the duties of the office temporarily in the interest of justice. So, what is the problem? We're going to go through the problem. We're going to break it down for you, okay? If an appointment expires, the district court for such district may appoint. Underline that word may. It doesn't say shall. Doesn't say it's required to. It says they may. There's a big difference right there. Keep that in mind, okay? Think of it as a relay race. It's a relay race. The first 120 days, Pam Bondi is holding the baton. She can appoint whoever she wants. And then, after 120 days, she passes the baton to the district court. And they may, if they so desire, appoint a judge or a United States attorney. Now, that's the finish line. There we go. The finish line is reached under Code 546 once the baton is passed to the district court and they appoint an attorney. That's it. That's the finish line of this code. It says nothing else, and that is where the problem really comes in. Now, what I want to do here is show you the timeline and help you understand this a little better. January the 21st of this year, Pam Bondi appointed U.S. Attorney Siebert. And he was appointed under the 546A AG appointment according to law. He served 120 days. On May the 2nd, the baton was passed to the district court. What did the district court decide? To make no changes, to allow Siebert to continue serving in that role. Now Siebert is no longer under the purview of the executive department, but now he's under the purview of the judicial department. So the baton has been passed, right? It's the finish line. This subsection has been satisfied when they allowed Siebert to stay on. They actually may appoint, and that's how they did it. However, September the 19th, a bomb dropped that no one was expecting. Siebert resigned. Now, the problem exacerbates. Siebert resigns. The subsection, let's go back. There is nothing in this law at all about what happens after the baton is passed to the district court and they appoint an attorney. Nobody saw a resignation, and there is no law for such an event. Once he resigned, guess what happens now? There is a what? A vacancy. His resignation brings a vacancy. Now, according to Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, they knew this was going to get dismissed today. But you see, they were fighting a clock on the statute of limitations. 5 years was about to run out. If they would not have pressed their charges when they did, the statute would have got them with James Comey. So they threw it in there knowing that there was this misunderstanding about a U.S. attorney with the court, but they didn't care. Now I know, after looking at this, Pam Bondi knew this was going to happen, but they're okay with it. And I'll show you why in just a moment. So if there's a vacancy, now we have to go back to subsection A. Look at it carefully. It kicks back in. The Attorney General may appoint a U.S. attorney for the district in which the office of the United States Attorney is what? Vacant. Did we not have a vacancy? Do we not now have a vacancy when Siebert resigned? Was that not the end of the line? And now we have a vacancy. If we have a vacancy, we have to go back to A. Now, the district court today did not see it that way. But I'll show you why they're wrong and why it will be overturned. Now, go to step number 5. After Siebert resigned, guess what happened? That's right. Pam Bondi did her constitutional duty. In subsection A, she appointed another U.S. attorney by the name of Halligan. How did she do that? Because of subsection A. It was her duty. The judge today dismissed these charges because he said that Halligan was illegally appointed. Now where are we at? We're at a constitutional crisis. That's why this will be overturned. Now, the question that we need to answer tonight, and it is a question that I know many of you struggled with, okay? And I really want to help you understand that. Why do different courts, for example, why do so many lower court rulings get overturned? Why? Because the lower court, basically called the district court in this case, they act quickly. The district courts have so much volume of cases, they strictly go by the text. It is not their job to deal with ambiguities. And this is what you need to understand. 4 courts, district courts, circuit courts, three courts, district, circuit, and supreme. Let me explain to you what they do. The court that dismissed the charges today, they couldn't care less about that ambiguity. They read the text that says, after 120 days, that attorney is no more good. It has to be appointed by the court. Bam, bam. That's what it says. Charges dismissed. Okay, great. Because they are not constitutionally inclined to figure out the ambiguities. They are a textual court. Whatever it says, whatever the precedents are, that's what we go with. All right? But now we're going to go to the circuit court. The Department of Justice is going to appeal this to the circuit court. Why will it get overturned at the circuit court? Because the circuit court does not just deal with the text. The circuit court must interpret this ambiguity. They're not just going to read the text. They must now see what the ambiguity is meaning. And that's where we believe this will be overturned. Now, if they don't overturn it, this is a prime Supreme Court case, and I'll explain why in just a moment. At the end of the day, you need to know this. When I first saw this ruling today, I was upset at Pam Bondi, and I did a knee-jerk reaction. I said she dropped the ball, but let's think about this. It takes time to build a federal case. You know, I said earlier today, why didn't she do this when Trump was first elected? That's impossible. It takes years sometimes to build a federal case. They built one in 6 months and got it in just before the statute of limitations. If they would not have done it that way, it would not go to the upper courts. So I believe it was probably a stroke of genius, actually, that they did this, okay? Now, Judge Curry ruled that once the court exercises their 546 authority, that the AG can never appoint again. But the law doesn't say that. You see what I'm saying? Let's look at it one more time. The judge added to the law what it doesn't say. It doesn't say after the 120 days that they can never appoint again. Matter of fact, it's ambiguous. And that will be the job of the circuit court. The district court saw that ambiguity. They don't deal with ambiguities. They have to go with the text. That's why the charges were dismissed today. According to them, the charges are illegal. They're wrong. And the circuit court will prove that. Now, basically remember this. Anytime you're confused why courts make different decisions, your district court, they simply make textual decisions, whatever the text says. Your circuit courts, they make purposeful decisions, historical decisions. The Supreme Court makes constitutional decisions, okay? So you need to keep that in mind when you're looking at these different courts and why they rule the ways that they rule. Now, the circuit court reviewing this case, they may look at legislative history. What did Congress actually mean when they amended this statute in 2007? How does this provision interact with the Federal Vacancies Reform Act? How does the Constitution? So here's something that we all have to understand. This appeals process is the path forward that is going to bring James Comey and Letitia James before justice. Now, let's talk about the 2 courts that this will be going to. The 4th Circuit Court has shifted more conservative under Donald Trump. All right? And then that's the 4th. That's Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia. So it is a more conservative court now. It's not as conservative as the 5th and the 11th, but it's not as liberal as the 9th. So I think we're going to be all right. They're going to see justice. So if you're the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, and you have cases against these political enemies of the president, and you know you're facing a hostile district judge, which would be Curry, they brought him in from South Carolina, do you wait for perfect conditions that may never come? Or do you prosecute knowing you will win on appeal? And that's exactly what they did today. Now, the Appointments Clause of the U.S. Constitution puts all the power with the president to appoint these officers. So constitutionally, this is already leaning in the president's favor. So I want to just talk to you patriots for just a minute before I go tonight. My initial reaction to this news was frustration and anger. I assumed incompetence. I blamed Pam Bondi. But when I slowed down and actually read the legal issues, I saw something different, a calculated move that might serve the long-term goal of establishing favorable precedent. So when news breaks out, my fellow Americans, resist that urge to instantly react. Read, find Professor Toto, think, and then form your opinion. Because our political system and our judicial system, our legislative system is much more complex than a news headline. On the news headline, you see these words, Comey's charges dismissed. And that's all you see. Oh, great, he got by with it. No, educate yourself, okay? It's not a victory at all. It was not a victory when they convicted Trump of a felony. Not a victory at all for those of us that know and understand. That brings wisdom. Knowledge, not knowledge alone, but knowledge and understanding of what you know brings wisdom. Know the system. Know the truth, and the truth will always set you free from fear. So, we live in an age of instant reaction. Social media has trained us to have opinions in seconds and move on to the next outrage. But the law does not work that way. Justice does not work that way. What happened today is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a legal chess match that may ultimately strengthen the Department of Justice's hands, not weaken it. Now, I'm not saying definitely that we will win in the circuit court. I believe we will. But I know we'll win at the Supreme Court because the Constitution will weigh heavily in the executive branch. So don't let headlines tell you what to think. Learn the system, learn the truth, understand the process, and then and only then do you need to form an opinion. And so I believe that we will see justice. I know we will see justice. So ladies and gentlemen, that is what happened today, and that is what will happen in the near future. Thank you for joining me. Before I go tonight, my brand new book is available right there at thefakepresident.org, signed and numbered for every one of you, Why Joe Biden Will Never Be a Legitimate President. Thefakepresident.org, or you can scan the QR code. The name of the book is The Great American Gaslight, available nowhere else but at that QR code. Also, last but not least, make sure you are a subscriber to my daily blog on Substack, free of charge. Everything I just taught you is already there. You can go eyeball it, study it, and then educate your coworkers, friends, and family. Please subscribe free of charge to my Substack, Professor Toto. If you don't know how to do a QR code, go to Substack.com, search for Professor Toto, T-O-T-O, just like that little dog in The Wizard of Oz that pulled back the curtain on that lying Wizard of Oz. I'm glad you joined me tonight. My main show is tomorrow night, 7 Central, right here. We're on Roku, You can download Roku, look for First Harvest Ministries, and download our channel. We'll be on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, and everywhere else in between. Tomorrow night at 7 Central, you don't want to miss it, Professor Toto will be in living color at the Conservative College every Tuesday night, 7 Central. Thank you for joining me. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. Have a happy Thanksgiving this week. And by the way, if you've not watched my video called George Washington's Vision for America, make sure you watch that before Thanksgiving. God bless you. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us.